Hi everyone, welcome back to Switch Up. Now you may have seen, or you might not, that the Nintendo Switch 1 has just had a massive update. You will need to go into your system settings and potentially force it to go, but it's 20.0.0. Glenn and I got together on a call. We're going to go through all of the features for you. It's actually, for once, a proper update on the Switch that changes quite a few things, adds a lot of functionality relating to the Switch 2. So what's it all about? Well, let's find out. So yeah, we're going to have a little chat and talk you through everything we know so far. You may find that you need to go into your system settings and manually force the update. That's what I had to do. For some reason, it just didn't want to do it otherwise.
Yeah, exactly right. That's the same as happened here. I went to use the eShop this morning and it told me without doing the update I couldn't, but as you say, I had to go into system settings and find the update myself, which is fine. It doesn't take very long. But yeah, the major things it adds to the UI, I guess, of the Switch 1 is that of virtual game cards and game share.
Exactly right, yeah. So we've got, it says here that you purchase Nintendo Switch digital software, DLC and some free games are now virtual game cards and are displayed in a list within that menu.
Yeah, so basically once you've updated, any digital games that you've got on your system will still show on there. When you first, well, when your system first starts back up, it looks very similar, apart from a couple of icons down the bottom that I'm sure you'll notice. But your games still look the same. However, if you do click onto a digital game to play it, it will tell you that you need to now load it as a digital game card, or a virtual game card, sorry, before you can actually play it.
Oh, interesting. So you do have to do something for all the games that you've currently got?
Whilst they're still on there, they're still visible, it kind of almost removes them from your system, and you'll need to load it back on. So you don't need to go into the eShop or anything like that, but if you go into that icon down the bottom now, the virtual game card icon, it will show you all of the digital games that you have on that system, and you just need to basically load one. I suppose it's effectively the equivalent of putting an actual cartridge into your Switch, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. That's actually quite, if that removes the ability to have to be online, I'm actually going to quite like that. So I've just loaded it up now. On this Switch, I've got 1,577 digital games. So if I click onto it and go to load to this console, let's see what happens. Okay, so this is interesting, isn't it? So it says, another Nintendo Switch console is currently set as the primary console for your Nintendo account, because this is my second Switch. Please perform a system update on that console. So every console that you have has to be updated for this to work.
Yeah, absolutely. But once you've done that and once you're kind of all set to go, then you can load the game onto the console, like I say, almost like putting a physical cartridge in. And then the idea behind this, the whole selling point, I guess, if you like, is that you can then swap, I guess, or lend cards to other people.
Yes, yeah, so there's an option to load to another console, or exactly as you say, lend to a family group member. Now that's interesting, isn't it? Because the family group is tied to the Nintendo Switch Online, is that correct?
It's the Nintendo account, isn't it? Yeah, so you'd need to have a Switch that's recognised within that, which to be honest is quite disappointing. I thought it was going to be similar to, you know, back in the day, or even these days I'm sure, but when we were kids, you know, you'd bring your Game Boy games into school and you'd swap them for a few days or whatever, you know. Yeah. And then give them back, and I assumed it was going to be like that you could swap these with anyone, with the caveat being that until you swap it back, you can't play it. So there's no risk of, you know, people getting something for nothing. It's literally a case of lending them out for a while. Yeah,
it's strange. So there's a caveat section. There's a section of that area for help, because obviously I think some people are going to be a little bit confused, like I think we are to a small degree. But it says virtual game cards can also be lent out to other users. If you want to lend a virtual game card to someone, they must be part of your Nintendo account family group, we know that. But it's a 14-day period. Virtual game cards can be lent for up to 14 days at a time. Your family group member's console will need to be close to yours, so it is about proximity. And it may not be possible to lend out certain software titles.
Yeah, this is just the part about the family group that's a bit of a shame. It would be nice if they gave you the option to add say 5 more people to it. So they're not part of your family group or anything like that, but they're just, you know, like going way back old school, but do you remember like BT used to have like friends and family?
Yeah.
When you used to say numbers that you used to phone quite often and you got money off or something. I don't know what they did, but it would be nice if you could do something like that. So it just widens the scope of who you can lend to a bit more.
Yeah, I totally agree. I wonder what the maximum is for a family group, because I guess in essence you maybe could do something like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how many consoles you can have assigned to it, but it would be nice if it just wasn't quite so, I don't know, strict in terms of how you do it. If there was literally a way on your Switch that, you know, if you meet up with a mate, say, who's not any part of that, that you could just there and then, or you know, share friend codes or whatever you need to do, I don't know, and then you could lend, you know?
Yeah, I'm just trying to see, like you said, when you just load up a normal game, what happens. And yeah, it does say, doesn't it, another Nintendo Switch console is currently set as the primary console.
Yeah, but that's always been the case. That's nothing new.
Right.
Because I have got 2 Switches as well. I've got my my original from back in 2017 that's literally falling apart, and then I've got my OLED that I use more for the channel. And because my original Switch is in such bad nick now, I do bring my OLED out a lot more, but I've never changed it to be my primary console. So I've gone like to my daughter's swimming lessons and gone to play a digital game, and it's not let me because it's not recognising the fact that this one's allowed to have those games because the primary console isn't on or isn't connected to the internet at the minute. So that's always been the case. So that's nothing new. It's just yeah, it's just a shame that they can't. Whenever they do these things, they always sound really good, and then there's just a way they could be slightly better, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I think it needs a bit of like hands-on time, doesn't it, to really get to grips with it.
Yeah.
It seems like a good idea, you know, especially if you're just using, you know, you don't want to share with friends and things, you just want to use it within your household.
Yeah, then it'll be
just,
fine.
You know, exactly, and if it's pretty seamless, which usually, you know, they have a habit of doing. What's the game share function? Is that something different? Because there's another icon at the bottom of the screen for game share.
Yeah, so this is for you to be able to share between a Switch 2 and your Switch. So this is more like the old DS where you used to be able to do this, and you could have a 2-player game that didn't necessarily need 2 versions of it. Both persons have a copy of the game, and you can kind of share across. So I'm assuming that's for that. So I don't think this applies between 2 Switch 1 consoles.
Yes, I think you're right. Yeah, it literally says here, it says accepting a game share invitation from a Nintendo Switch 2 user will allow you to play the game with them.
Yeah, so this is something Nintendo have done before, like I said, on the DS, possibly the 3DS as well, I can't remember, but it was a great feature. I said before when we were watching the Direct that my wife and I used to play Bomberman DS a lot, and you only needed one copy of the game. It restricted what you could do in the game. It wasn't like the other person got a whole copy of the game, but whilst you were connected, you could do certain multiplayer modes, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's nice. That's a nice feature. I do like that. I didn't get to experience that before.
Yeah, no, it's good to have it. It's good to see that come back. I'm sure it will be the same in that. Well, obviously the game will have to have the capacity for game share, but I'm sure it will be that certain modes are not available whilst you're in that mode, you know. Yeah.
So does this update change the eShop? Do we know?
No, it's changed the icon for the eShop. But having gone on to the eShop myself today to make my upcoming video, as far as I can see, it's exactly the same. Down to speed, everything else is exactly the same.
Right, okay, they're waiting for the Switch 2 launch. Let's just fingers cross that one. So we've also got user verification settings has been added under user and settings. You can restrict access to the virtual game card menu using a pin, something like that.
And there's also the system transfer to Switch 2 has been added, the capacity to do that under system settings, and then system, which is right down the bottom of that system settings menu. Again, I remember doing all this from my Wii to Wii U. Back then they did a nice little graphic of the Pikmin carrying your data across from one console to the other. But obviously you won't want to be touching that yet until if you're buying a Switch 2, that's when you want to be using that. So I think that's everything on there. What are your thoughts then? Yeah, I mean, it's nice to see preparations for the Switch 2 being made. It's nice to have that all. It will be nice, sorry, to have that game share back. Like I say, it always worked well in the past when I used it on other Nintendo handheld consoles. And the game, or the virtual game card, sorry, I do think it's a good idea. As you said, if you're just within your one household, then it's fine. It's absolutely no bother at all. It will work very well. It would be nice to see them maybe open it out a bit more, just so you can swap games with people, and after, as you say, 14 days or whatever it is, you give it back. I think it would be nice to just extend that out a bit more. I do think the idea in principle is a good one.
Yeah, I agree. I think my kids are always trying to use my account, and then I'll go on and it'll be like, you know, it cuts one of us off. So not having that will be a big help.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lovely. All right, let us know down in the comments. What do you think? This is actually a pretty huge update for once, which is nice, especially when it comes to system updates on the Nintendo Switch.
Yep, thank you to our patrons and our channel members for your continued support, and to each and every one of you for watching our videos. Take care, and until next time, happy gaming.